just wanted to start off with we could just kind of go back on that game just from a defensive standpoint. Dana after the game was saying, you guys have been through a lot, whether it's injuries, some of the ups and downs. But what was it, the sort of maybe the going into the game, how you felt versus that what it translated to on the field in a place that's been really tough for a lot of teams to play this throughout the years.
Yeah, overall, coach hit some of those things. I think we've had some highs and lows of the season. As far as, production and who's been out there, who's not been out there, a lot of talk about all those things. But for me, and our players and our staff, all I know is work. You know what I mean? And whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly, we get back to the drawing board and, switch some things up and, made some adjustments and try to do, some things that we thought they could handle. As far as schematically and putting some of our players in position to make plays. And the same thing we do every week. I thought we had a good plan, but I think our players did a better job of executing it. And I think, had great energy going in a hostile environment, really cool place. It was rowdy, had a lot of fans. And, I think our guys, as far as defensively, we hadn't put together a good game in a while consistently. We won 5 of the last 6, but as far as consistency and performance and playing well from start to finish. It was really good to see, and I'm just proud of our players, and I think they believe in what we're coaching, and no matter who's out there, they got to go out there and play and perform. So it was a good day for us defensively and offensively.
We'll pass it along to Andy Yanez.
Hey Doug, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Obviously, with this being the last week of the regular season, it's going to be your guys' senior night this upcoming Saturday. I was just curious if you could talk about really what the seniors on the defensive side of the ball has meant for this group in particular, like you alluded to previously. It's been a season full of ups and downs, but really, how have the seniors been able to help this group throughout that whole process?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, that I can mention and things that we could talk about, but we have a lot of guys who have contributed a lot to our program that will walk on that field for the last time and compete as a Houston football player. And a lot of these guys have been around for a long time through different coaches, different schemes, and they represent the University of Houston very well. And we want to make sure that we send those guys out the right way and that they have a memorable senior night. I think that's our responsibility as a staff and anybody who's not a senior on this team. To play their heart out for those guys. And, every year is unique and every year is different. But in our group, as far as defensively, as far as seniors, there's been a lot of leadership provided, a lot of guidance, and also a lot of production. So it's going to be one of those bittersweet moments where those guys run out the last time. But, I think they're very grateful for their time here and we're very grateful for them. So it'll be a special time for everybody.
We'll send it along to James Mueller.
Yeah. Hey, Doug, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Yesterday, Dana was talking to us. He called this week, the week of Thanksgiving, just one of his most favorite of the seasons, just with, holiday celebrations, but also getting to play in meaningful games. I was just wondering, do you share that sort of same thing, going into this week where you're able to, take some time to celebrate things, but also, you have a big game this weekend that can go a long way in the conference standings?
Yeah, I think anytime you have an opportunity to line up and play, you're in good health, and I think it's always something to be thankful of. And I think oftentimes we take that for granted. And then this week you just have a chance to reflect, and it's whatever you believe in with your faith, your family, your football, things that you can reflect and be very thankful for, especially with the highs, the lows, the emotions of football, and for our guys to really be able to spend a lot of time with each other. With the unique schedule this week, with school being out for part of the week, and just a time for us to bond, come together. I'll be very thankful for everything that we've been blessed with, and all the people that are able to impact each and every one of our lives every day. And sometimes you don't think about those things until the week of Thanksgiving. And it's nothing better than food and football, so it all kind of goes hand in hand.
We'll send it along to Bailey Sheffield. Bailey.
Hi, Coach.
Hey,
I was
Bill.
just wanting to know, is there anything about Tulsa that's stood out to you so far?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Very veteran group, especially in the skill positions. A lot of production, and a lot of guys offensively. They're from the area that our players played and competed against. So I think it'll be a high level of competition as far as the competitive nature of the game. But for us, as far as defensively, trying to find a way to continue to build on some of the things that we've done well and some of the things that we need to get better at. Just another opportunity for us to continue to develop. But as far as schematically, very explosive. Stokes, seems like he's been around forever. Houston kid, that's a really good player, number 3 in our conference as far as receiving yards, and number 4 nationally. So been very productive. Their starting running back is a Houston kid as well, who's big and physical. So they got depth, they got physicality. I've seen a lot of growth from their team as far as on the perimeter. With the receiving group, very productive, athletic, has speed. So it'll definitely be a challenge for us of what they present down in and down out. And then as far as the quarterbacks, they play 2 different guys, kind of shuffled in and out with injuries. But 7 has been around for a long time, veteran guy, understands the system, throws it around well, distributes the ball, very intelligent. You could tell that he's been around and understands what's happening with their coaching staff and getting them in and out of the right plays. You take number 1, Braxton, younger, big, physical, athletic. They have 2 different types of games, so we have to be prepared for both of those guys as far as schematically. And then, they play with an edge. They play physical, they play hard. I definitely think their record doesn't show the talent level that they have as far as their production. If you look at the statistics, they're really good in a lot of different places. So overall, just a big challenge for us with the offense that's capable of being very explosive.
Thanks, Bailey. We'll pass it along to Joseph Duarte.
Doug, I guess as a team, but more specifically with you as a defense, this senior class went through COVID with you. Some of the ups and downs, the championship last year. When you think of guys like Derek Parrish, Donovan Mooden, how would you sum up the seniors in this group that are going to walk like Atlias, Da, Jamichael, guys like that were here, sort of when you got here, and some came in after you got here.
Yeah, I think very, very special group of young men. Love them all the same, and they all have different skill sets and different personalities, but they all have the same type of heart. And they all represent the university very well and their families. And I think that each one of them are very unique. And I could probably talk about this all day. But at the end of the day, guys that have provided leadership, guys who have provided a lot of production. And, it's going to kind of reinvent us as we continue to go forward, because there's a lot of guys that'll play their last game here at home this weekend that mean a lot to each and every one of us. So just hopeful that the night ends the right way for those guys. I'm very hopeful that this group of men go on to do big things. And I think everybody that we've talked about, I think they're going to be successful in, whatever they decide to do. And that's really my greatest mission in coaching is people. And, I pray that, that I have impacted them in a positive way, and as well as our other coaches. And then when they leave here, that they leave with a lot more in football. And so at the end of the day, these guys are special to me, special to our coaching staff. And, I think our players on our team that aren't seniors, look to these guys for a lot of different things. They have different experiences in life off the field with some of the things that some of those guys that you talked about have been able to overcome just to get to this point. And then the list of guys that will walk across this field, most of our guys, just not defensively, have already had a chance to graduate college. A lot of those guys are already playing with undergraduate degrees, and the few that aren't will be finishing here in a couple of weeks or this spring. So, a lot of things to be proud of and a lot of things to be very thankful of. And I think through this season of giving and Thanksgiving, as we talked about earlier, I think that's one thing to be very thankful of is the opportunities that we've been presented. And, the opportunity for us to line up and play again this Saturday on senior night.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll pass it along to James Mueller.
Yeah, Doug, you touched on Tulsa. I was just curious if you could go into a little more detail on Stokes, their receiver. Y'all faced, some really good ones, but just what makes him unique and just challenging.
Yeah, I think he's, in the class with the top receivers in our league and the top receivers in the country. When you look at him statistically, 69 receptions, over 1,100 yards, right at 1,200, and he's got 7 touchdowns. Veteran, savvy, has explosive capabilities. They shift, they motion him, jet sweeps, vertical pass game, RPOs, quick pass game. So he's kind of a jack of all trades and does a lot of different things well. So where he's lined up is going to be very important for us, as well as understanding, what leverage to play and that they're going to try to target him and get him the ball. And I think he surpassed a lot of guys this year, as far as where he's at statistically, probably the best receiver that's played there. And, that's saying a lot. There's a lot of good players that have played there. But I think, for a career, he's had a heck of a career there. And I'm sure it's going to mean a lot to him, to come back to his hometown and play his final game, even though that they're not playing a home game. I think it'll mean a lot to him. So it'll be a challenge for sure. He's a very good player, and I think he presents challenges. So it'll be a great opportunity for us to line up and compete.
Send it over to Andy Yanez.
Going back to the East Carolina game, I'm curious if you could talk more about how you felt the defensive line played and how really big of a factor they played in that game. It seemed like they were, able to cause a lot more havoc in the backfield. I think you guys had I can't remember the exact number, right? You had a lot of tackles for loss. You had a couple sacks as well. Just overall the performance against East Carolina from that defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, we're a front-driven team. We played did some different things with those guys, and it allows some of those guys to get some matchups that I thought that we can, do well with. Particularly, you look up front. Dot has gotten better each and every week, and he's tough to handle inside, and he's very dominant. With what we did, Cedric and Atlias Bell played on the edge often, and then we moved D'Anthony and Nelson around a lot of different places. And so when you look at it, those guys were able to win some one-on-one matchups. We knew going into that game the number one thing that we had to do against their quarterback, who's arguably going to go down as a top 10 guy production-wise as far as throwing the football in college football history. And he's veteran, he's savvy, so we had to try to confuse him and make the game tough for him. And I thought our guys did a really good job up front of doing that. I think we had 3 sacks and a couple TFLs, but the difference in the game was the way that we affected him. So a lot of times we often talk about statistics, but it's really more how you affect the quarterback than actually the production that you get on the quarterback. And I thought our guys did a really good job, and really proud of those guys in particular. I thought Atlias Bell played the best game that he's played since he's been here, and he's done a lot of really good things for us over his time here. And had a couple pressures, sack, TFL, forced fumble. His story has been unique, and he's battled a lot of adversity over his career in his life, from Hurricane Katrina to move into all different things, and academically, and the week 1 we didn't know if he was going to be able to play, and he was a scout team player of the week and gave his all for his team the first week of the season. So for him on week 11 to be the player of the game for us, with the type of game he had to dominate is one of those stories that we'll remember by him as he walks across the field on senior night. But overall, just a good group effort, from front to back. But in particular, I thought our D-line did do a really good job. And as I tell you guys all week, I really believe in the people around us and our coaching staff as far as getting people ready to play, starting with our head coach. But in particular, our position coaches, I thought early did what he always does. I thought Archie and David did a really good job as well. So very pleased with those guys.
We'll send it over to Joseph Duarte and keep it open for a couple more. Joseph?
Doug, in the East Carolina game, it seemed like Jalen he was matched up with Winstead a lot, and Winstead's a pretty big guy and had a lot of success. Was that the type of game that sort of maybe Jalen showed what he the buildup? He hadn't had a lot of snaps, but this was kind of a game that showed that what the potential is there?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen is very highly competitive. He's got a lot of great traits, as we've talked about before. Really proud of him because sometimes you get thrown in that fire and you get and a few bad things happen as a freshman. Sometimes it's hard to rebound. But from a mental standpoint and a physicality standpoint, that was the head coach's message. From the week last week, and I thought he did a really good job of doing all of those things. But he doesn't get shaken up very easily. I think he just goes out there and plays his game. But with each game that he's been able to play, first game SMU didn't come around, Temple, and each and every week he's gotten more confident. And you see the traits that he possesses showing up. For a freshman to go out there and have, these tackles and 4 PBUs and be very competitive on some of the best receivers in our league, and a veteran quarterback that, was targeting him, and he was able to rise up to the challenge and make some of the plays he didn't make a couple weeks ago. And then, he missed that tackle at the end of the game, he made a big play against Temple. And then the 4th down play on the goal line, he missed the tackle and he was devastated, and he snapped right back and played that final drive against Temple very well. So going into this game, we believe in him. And I think he's only going to get better the more that he plays. And, having him around for a long time is going to be awesome for us. But for him, just the reps is going to just make him a better player. And he's playing at a high level with a lot of confidence. And, the biggest thing that I think he's done over the last couple of weeks is really gain the trust of his teammates. And it's pretty cool to see how they respond to him when he makes a play. And they believe in him, and you could tell the camaraderie that has come from a young guy being out there with a couple of veteran guys that has a chance to be a really good player here.
If I could throw this last one out there, did you get the same reaction on the Aaron Willis hit as Dana did on the kickoff?
Yeah, I barely saw it because where I was at, and I was in the box this week for the first time. I'm usually on the field, so I didn't have the same energy behind it. But I've been around Aaron for a long time now. Recruited at school, his high school, when he was in high school, and I've seen him play. And he's a special player, and we're glad that we have him. And we were anticipating him playing, and as we're doing with a lot of other players, with roster management, through injuries, through red shirt, and we were trying to only get a certain number of games out of him. But he's a difference maker. You could tell the energy and the passion, but the physicality, that he brings. And you see where he was rated coming out of high school, transferring here from the University of Tennessee. Hasn't played a lot of football at the college level yet, but I think he's going to be an exciting player that plays really physical moving forward for us. And so I'm really proud of him. Because every day he approaches practice the same way, whether he's on the look team or he's running down on kickoff, and, he's kind of waited his time and had to get himself in shape mentally and physically after transferring and sitting out a little bit. But we believe in him, and, he just loves football, and his energy is infectious no matter what he's doing. And, he will knock people back, and he is physical, and he embraces contact, and he seeks it as well. And in football, there's very few guys that love contact and love to seek contact. And he's looking for it at all times. So he's definitely a guy that we're proud to have, and very happy that he got an opportunity to go in there. And he was taking on double team the whole night. And he was splitting double teams, running through people, running around people, forcing fumbles. So he did a really good job.
If you keep slumming with us in the press box, you may not want to go back down on the field. Is that just a one time deal, or was it the stadium because of the view, or you just?
Well, the thing is we've found a way to win some close games, and we've had some tough losses, and we've even had bad loss, right? So for me, I have zero ego in coaching, and so we were just trying to find a way to switch some things up. And from an adjustment standpoint, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for me to just see things from a different perspective, especially having a lot of young guys out there. Me and Coach talked about it, early in the week. I thought about doing it a couple weeks ago, But with all the young guys that we were playing, especially, you know, in the secondary, being able to coach them through some things, you know, was part of the reason that I didn't do it before. And I've always liked being on the field and being in the mix, but it was a different perspective. And, you know, we made a bunch of different changes over the last couple of weeks, and, you know, just going back to work, as I said, and it's just one of those things that, you know, that we tried out just to, you know, switch a few things up. And, you know, I enjoyed it. And, you know, for us, it's whatever it takes to win. For me, is what I'm about. So, you know, I don't know if it's a one game thing or if it's going to be permanent, but, you know, I would say knowing Coach Holgerson that I probably won't have an option in the near future. So we'll keep rolling with it, and whatever it takes to win, that's what we'll figure out what to do. You know, whether it's me trying to figure out things out to help our players be better, or if it's schematically or putting people in position, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about the team, and I'm all about whatever it takes to win.
Obviously, y'all still have a big game, and I'm sure you're focused on that. But have you had time to, reflect on some things going into, your final home game at UH?
Yeah, a little bit. I've thought about it some. Try not to get too deep into it, but definitely thought about it. It's pretty crazy. I feel like it's gone fast but slow at the same time. So it's kind of a weird feeling, but I'm excited.
Send it over to Andy Yanez.
Yeah, Clayton, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, I'm doing good. Just going back to that East Carolina game, and in particular, I mean, it feels like we're broken record because since going back to Memphis, you guys have really been able to pick it up offensively on that level. But once again, in East Carolina, it seems like you guys are just clicking on all cylinders. I'm curious, just kind of to build off that reflecting thing, when it comes to this season, is this just from your perspective as a leader, is there anything different that you were able to do from that switch that you feel has really been able to help motivate that team since the offense has been clicking, or how do you feel really has helped that switch along the way since going back to that Memphis game?
I think with the help of the coaches and myself, I think the message has just been, quit worrying about expectations and how people view us and how we feel like we should be doing. Quit worrying about all of that other stuff and just focus on doing your job, each person individually doing their job and having fun. That's the thing you can't forget to do, is when you go out there, you can't be so stressed out and worried about so many other things that the game's not fun. So you kind of got to let loose a little bit and not be thinking too much, and just allow the preparation and work that we've put in leading up to these games to kind of show themselves. And like I said earlier, just have fun with it.
Send it over to Joseph Duarte.
Clayton, what are you most proud of from your time here? Maybe one of the memories you'll take away.
Man, there's so many. I can't just pinpoint one, but I think the thing I'm most proud of is just, the resiliency of this team, and the resiliency I feel like I've displayed throughout the years, because it's been rocky. I mean, didn't have a lot of success in 18, 19, and 20. I didn't play all that great. And then to have a season like we did in 21, and then just, to battle through this season that we've had in 22 has been crazy. I feel like that's been almost, more impressive, just because we've been through so much more. We're this close. We still have an opportunity. There's still a slim chance that we get in that conference championship game, which would be, one step closer to our goal that we set before the season. But I think, the thing I'm most proud of is just the resiliency of my teammates and coaches and everybody around. So something I'm proud of for sure.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll send it over to James Mueller.
Yeah, Clayton, sort of on that resiliency, one thing Dana told us yesterday when looking at the senior class was just, he doesn't feel like a lot of teams would have been able to, go through what y'all been able, went through, and still, be able to come out and, have a chance at a conference championship. How would you sum up this, this group of seniors as a whole, including yourself, but just the group as a whole?
I think all of these guys are, tough, selfless guys that are, um, team first guys that are willing to put in the work and do everything they can to give the team the best chance to have success. So I know that's something I pride myself on. I know a lot of other guys, and it's not just seniors too. There's a lot of guys, but I feel like especially the senior group, that's been the main focus is just get better each and every day and do everything we can to, you know, give the team the best opportunity to win and succeed. And, even if that means putting your selfish desires beside, I feel like that's what we've done.
We'll send it over to Joseph Duarte.
Clayton, I realize you've had a lot of teammates during your time here, but that special connection you and Tank have, and just the connection and the stats. Can you sort of put into words, what having a receiver like that has meant? And you've had a great tight end with Christian as well. Just guys like that who have sort of helped you become who you are as much as you've helped who they become.
Right. Yeah, I think it just brings a a level of comfort, and that chemistry is there and it's built with just the time and effort we've put in together, through games and practices and off-season workouts and all that type of stuff. So it's huge to have, bonds like that with those guys because, not only is Tank a really good player, obviously super talented, hard to guard, all that, but those things aren't always as effective if you're not on the same page with each other. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like that being on the same page with him and Christian and Jack and, some of the other guys is just as important as, the talent and the execution, because I feel like the two go hand in hand. And so having that connection with those guys is definitely huge. And it makes me, feel more comfortable back there knowing that, they're going to do what they need to do and them trusting me to do my job. So having that connection is important, no doubt.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll send it over to James Mueller and then keep it open if there's one more. James?
Yeah, Clayton, one thing Dana's talked about and Coach Belk, just playing on Thanksgiving week, it's special as a whole, but just an opportunity to also, look back and sort of be thankful for some of the things you might take for granted. How do you approach this week? And do you allow yourself, just with giving some time to spend with family, friends, before a game day, just an opportunity to sort of just look outside, look back for a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very thankful and grateful for, everything in my life and all the opportunities and blessings I've been given. And so I definitely take time to reflect on those. And I think about it pretty much every day, really every day. I start the morning off by, thinking about it and just giving thanks for it and being grateful. And it's great to have my family there to support me. They're coming down this week. I think they're going to get an Airbnb, so we'll be able to hang out and have Thanksgiving dinner, which is something I'm super thankful for. And but yeah, it's always good to take a step back every now and then and just kind of assess the situation and count your blessings and the things to be thankful for. So that's something that I do on a regular basis, but even more so this week being Thanksgiving and whatnot.
Thanks, James. We'll give the final question to Joseph Duarte.
Clayton, I'm not sure if we've talked to you since that announcement, but you accepted an invitation to the Shrine Bowl, and I know you still got some games left here, but that's the next phase of your career, the next chapter. Of to get that invitation, what did that mean to know that in a couple of months or in a month and a half, so you're gonna sort of take that next step?
That's awesome. I'm very honored that they've invited me and selected me to be a part of their game. There's going to be a lot of great players there. So I'm excited to just have the opportunity to go there and compete and, show scouts and other personnel, the skill set that I have. And why it's a job interview basically. And so I'm very thankful to get my foot in the door and have that opportunity to, like I said, compete. So very grateful and thankful for those guys for, thinking of me and reaching out and inviting me. And I'm just excited for the opportunity.
So I was just wondering, going back to this past weekend, just what it meant to be able to go in there. You're facing a veteran quarterback and really send a statement with just in that final road game of the season. Just what it did for the defensive confidence and just overall what it meant to this team.
Well, we had really, really good confidence all week in our game plan. We ran a 3-man front. That's not something we're used to doing. So we just trusted our coaches on that, and it wound up working out for us. And just we play better when we're away. We always feel like that. So for us, we're always comfortable away. It doesn't feel different to us than a home game and away game. So we like playing away, and we knew what it meant to have a good performance on defense because that's something we pride ourselves in. So I think we did that.
Thanks, James. We'll send it over to Andy Yanez.
Hey, Elias, you guys have reached are about to reach the finish line of the season, with senior night being this upcoming Saturday. I'm just curious, leading up to this game, has it kind of hit you yet that this is going to be your senior night where it's going to celebrate what you've been able to do with Houston?
Yeah, it's hit me a little bit these last couple of days that this pretty much like my last week of like regular season of college. I really didn't see it coming, to end anytime soon, but it has. And I'm just grateful for everything I've been through here and just all the relationships I've made here with all my teammates. And, I'm really going to miss them and playing with these guys here. So, yeah, it's dwelled on me a little bit, but I'm actually looking forward to it, because a new chapter in life after this, and excited to see how everybody does after football.
We'll continue along with James Mueller.
Yeah, on senior night, particularly on the defensive end, I think there's 10 guys that will be walking. Can you just talk about the group of seniors y'all had on defense and how, you've been through a lot of ups and downs and how they've really helped lead this program to get y'all to where you are at today and, a chance to possibly go into a conference championship?
Yeah, with mainly the seniors, me, G, a couple other guys, Jays, there's a lot of us on there. It's just been an honor playing with all those guys. We've been here, through some really good seasons and then, not so good seasons, what I'm saying? So we've been here while the program's been kind of shifting. So it's been different for all of us and it's made all of us closer at least. And we're just trying to end this thing on the right note for the guys next year and just, kind of establish the culture here and just, establish, our third word defense mentality back and just make it better for the future for other guys.
We'll continue along with Andy Yanez.
Yeah, this might be a bit of an interesting question, but I'm curious, what's like your first or earliest memory that sticks out to you, just like the first time you arrived at Houston?
I would say my earliest memory is just probably just how early we had to wake up for like workouts. Because my first year coming here, I was in like the 6 o'clock group. I was coming from junior college, kind of working out whenever, you know what I'm saying? And just waking up early and just how strict Bauer and them were. I just wasn't used to that. So that's probably like my earliest memory. I just woke up thinking like, there's no way, like we're about to go actually lift and like work out at 6 o'clock. Like, no way. Like I'm not even awake, so that's probably my earliest memory. And I got used to it as time went and it was hard for me, but that's probably my earliest memory. Like, man, this is different.
Thanks, Andy. We'll continue along with Joseph Duarte.
Hey, Elias, how you doing? Can you hear me, Elias?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay. One of the words the coaching staff have used for this class is resilient. Have you, thought about, I guess when you've gone through COVID, you've gone through some, not so good seasons. You went through the championship season. You've sort of seen a little bit of everything since you've been here at Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have, whether that was my first year where I've got injured and after that COVID happened and then last year, a really good season this year, pretty decent season. So yeah, I have seen everything, but I feel like it's made, at least the guys who's been here through it, it made us closer. It makes us play harder for each other. We know what we want to establish, at least on defense and just on the team in general. We know what we want the program to be. So we just try to work towards that every day and never lose focus of our goal. Like I said, we could be in a conference championship. Who knows? But like I said, we're just worried about, holding up our end of the deal and just trying to win as many games as possible and, win the next game.
Dana's been telling us that on his board he has an idea of who's a senior, who can come back, who's not. Are you for sure on how many years you have? And did
Oh,
they tried to tell you, hey, let's look
no.
for another year?
No, I'm good. I'm done. I'm done. This is this is my last year. This is all I got. I'm done.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll send it over to James Mueller and keep it open if there's one more. James?
Yeah, just looking ahead to this weekend, final home game. Just what stands out to you about Tulsa, and their offense challenges they present, things like that.
Well, they have a pretty decent running back. He's good. He's pretty fast on the perimeter. He can run a little bit, so that's a challenge always. And on defense, we accept those kind of challenges. We want people to try to run the ball on us. That's something that we pride ourselves in. And I mean, their quarterbacks, he's pretty good, and they have some good players. This is our first time we're looking at them today, so they have some pretty decent players. But we have a good game plan, like I said. Our coaches do a good job of that, so I'm not too worried about it. But they have some decent players.
We will send it over to and wrap up with Joseph Duarte.
Elias, I feel like this is the type of question for this week that goes to an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, but give me your go-to Thanksgiving meal favorite side. Is it stuffing, dressing, mashed potatoes? What do you got to have on Thanksgiving?
So I'm from New Orleans, so I got to have gumbo. I got to have some type of fried fish, some jambalaya. I'm pescatarian, but I used to like ham, so all those type of things, dirty rice and, the cornbread, the macaroni. That's the type of stuff my family makes. So I got to have usually all those things. If we don't have gumbo at my house at Thanksgiving, something's wrong. So that's usually the main thing I go to look for.
So being in Texas for these years, has that sort of been an adjustment?
Yeah,
or do you still get that?
Yeah, I have an older sister that lives here, so I still get that quite a bit. But it has been an adjustment, and I get it as often because every time I go home, my grandma's making something, like that. So it has been an adjustment, but I'm kind of used to it now.
So I was just wondering, obviously, y'all been having to mix and match things with injuries, and in terms of the secondary and stuff, but just going in with how the past few weeks have gone, going into ECU and really sending a statement, what that meant and what it showed about, the resiliency of this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows that we have guys ready to step up at every position. So I mean, Emery, for example, felt like this was kind of a coming out party for him, He stepped up for Hope. And Bo coming in playing more and more snaps with Hip being down. And I just feel like it shows that every position we got people ready to play.
Thanks, James. We'll pass it along to Andy Yanez.
Kind of along those lines, can you talk a little bit about how you feel the defensive backs group specifically has progressed throughout the course of the season?
I mean, I think we can all see it in the film. I mean, we got a lot. I feel like our group is a lot of young guys and a lot of old guys. So I don't feel like there's very much in between. And I feel like that's a good thing to have because I mean, a lot of us older safeties have been able to kind of take them corners under our wings and kind of like teach them and get them ready for this season and for the seasons coming along.
Thanks, Andy. We'll keep questions open here. And we can continue along with Joseph Duarte.
Garrison, what'll be one of your best memories that you take, from here?
Oh man.
What'll be going through your mind when you walk across the field on Saturday?
I mean, I'll probably actually be thinking about not even the games for real, but just all the practices and all the workouts we put in together. Like the games are obviously the funnest parts and like the things you're gonna like really remember, but like truly the thing I'll be thinking about is just like how much work we put in together, like in that facility and in that stadium.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll send it over to James Mueller.
Yeah, sort of on that same line. You've been here for a while. Just overall summing up the senior class, what y'all been through, the ups and downs, COVID, a strong championship run this year or last year, and then, ups and downs this season. How would you sum up, your time at UH and what this senior class has meant to the program?
I mean, I think we've shown a lot of fight, like a lot. Going through COVID, that was a tough season. I mean, for everybody, obviously, everybody knows why. But and then having that the next season that going to the championship game, I mean, I just think it showed how much fight we had because that whole off season we worked so hard, and then this season, just like you said, with the ups and the downs, like we could have easily stopped fighting weeks ago, but like we haven't. We keep fighting and we keep trying to put wins together.
We'll continue along with Joseph Duarte.
Garrison, what's next for you after you leave here? What degree wise, or would you like to give playing some more the next levels a chance, that kind of stuff?
I plan on getting into coaching.
Do you plan out? I got to tell you this. I do Central Texas radio a lot, and those folks over there, everything about you, they always ask for a Garrison Vaughn update in the Belton, Temple, Waco area. So they still remember you over there. Is that the place that you'd like to go coach back, back at your roots, or you have to go pretty much anywhere?
I mean, it's just wherever the best opportunity lies, honestly.
Coach Skidmore might be time to hang it up.
Man, he's doing good over there right now. I don't know if he will.
Thanks, Garrison.
Thanks, Joseph. We'll keep it open if there's a couple more for Garrison before we let him go here.
Garrison, do you, if I could continue, just, when you think about some of the people that you've met here, some of your teammates, they always say, these are your brothers, your lifelong relationships. Can you kind of put into words what some of the guys that you sort of maybe came in with that are still here, what that's been like and what, how you'll continue those relationships?
I mean, it really is a brotherhood. Like people say that, but it really is. Like I consider a lot of those guys like family. Like I would treat them just like I would a real brother. So like that's the best way I could describe it. Is those guys are like truly family.